Hi friends, my name is Jana Eubank for Hip Kit Club and I have a confession to make. Rainbow layouts are so popular and you know what? I have never made one, but today I'm going to change that. Today is the day I'm going to make a rainbow themed layout. Now my assignment is to use the March main kit along with the stamps and inks. And so my idea is to use the brushstroke stamps and all of the beautiful inks that we've received in February and March to create a rainbow brush stroke column down the right side of my page. I have these 4 smaller photos. They're 2.5 inches square each, and I'm going to just stamp the inks in the order that you see there, going from top to bottom, and then lay my photos in a column alongside the right side of the inks. Now the inks do come from both the February and March kits. The top 3 colors that you see here are from the February color kit. The lighter green color and the bottom 2 inks are from the March color kit, and then the darker green color is from the March pocket kit. So I'm just taking my time to clean off the stamps really well, and there's several different brush strokes as you can see on that stamp set, and while I'm using them, I'm just alternating the direction that I'm using them just so there's a nice variety of pattern and shape. I'm also overlapping them slightly and then having them offset from one another, kind of in a jig-jagged fashion. So I'll go ahead and get all of these beautiful inks stamped onto the paper. Now all these ink pads are these mini pads by Catherine Pooler, and don't let the mini size fool you. They are juicy and full of ink. I have loved using them so much, and I hope that we continue to get different colors in the color kits going forward because I love them and I can't wait to collect them all. So I've gone through all of the colors here, and I'm just repeating the top 2 colors again. The lighter purple called 16 Candles, and then the pink color called It's a Girl. So now that I have those all stamped onto my paper, I'm going to put my stamps away and I'm going to start focusing on my design. I'm going to trim off the edges. I'll go ahead and ink up the edges with the light gray ink, and then you can see how I'm going to have the 4 smaller photos going along the right side of those brush strokes, and then the largest photo down at the bottom. I'm also pulling out the frames and flare button die set from the January kit, and I'm going to use that to add frames to each of these small square photos. I'm using the March cardstock kit, and I'm going to follow the colors of those brush strokes and have them go in rainbow order all the way down. So the top one, I'm going to use the pink color, which is called Taffy. The second photo, I'll use the light yellow, which is called Lemon Drop. The third photo, I'll use blue, which is called Bubblegum. And then the bottom photo, I'm going to use the darker purple called Macaroon. I'm going to go ahead and also matte that large photo with the taffy pink color so that I can repeat that pink color at the bottom of the page, since I also repeated that pink ink swatch at the bottom of the page as well. Now when I matte my photos, I like to sand the edges just to distress them a little bit. I didn't do that on the smaller photos since the frames will cover the edges, but I am going to go ahead and do that to this largest photo, and then I'm going to use my Perfect Layers tools to matte this. Now this is an older tool that has been on the market for a really long time. I believe American Crafts actually bought them and they created their own set of tools called layer guides. They aren't currently shipping these as far as I've seen, so they might be hard to find, but maybe you'll be able to find them under the name Perfect Layers or We Are Memory Keepers layer guides if you're curious about those. I'm going to go ahead and just add some adhesive to the back of the frames, and I'll go ahead and add those to all of my photos now. And if any of the photos peek out from behind, I'll just use my scissors to trim those really quickly. Now that I have all of my photos matted, I'm going to go ahead and place those onto my page. I'm just tacking them in place in case I want to move them around, but I actually like how this sits and I don't even end up messing with them anymore. So I leave that. I'll go ahead and ink the edges of that white paper, and now I'm going to turn my attention back over to the main photo, and I'm going to double matte that with another pattern paper. While I'm flipping through the March pattern papers to find something for my photo, I kind of switch gears for a minute, and I think about, well, maybe I want to use a pattern paper in the background. I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll cut these brush strokes into a column and add the entire piece onto the background. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, which was kind of a brave move since I really loved how they looked on that white cardstock background, but I'm glad I did this. So now I'm going to first choose that pattern paper background, and the one that I decide to go with is the one called Forgotten Wishes. It has a tiny black dot grid and then these beautiful kind of sketchy floral embellishing on the left and right edges, and I think it looks so pretty with these brush strokes. Now, spoiler alert, I don't actually end up using this pattern paper as the background. It's beautiful, but as I start to add more embellishing to that column of brush strokes, it starts to compete with that floral, that printed floral on the left edge, and so I will change all of this over to a white cardstock. But you know what, if I would have kept the embellishing simple, it would have worked just fine, and I think it's really pretty. So if you're replicating this layout, feel free to do whatever tickles your fancy. So now that I've picked out that background paper, I can go ahead and choose which pattern paper I want to use on this main photo to help it stand apart. So I'm using this distressed green color, and this comes from the pattern paper called Making Memories. Now you also saw that I added some branding strips along the left and right edges of my brush stroke column. I used the pink watercolor branding strip from the Impressions paper, and then on the right side I used the ombre one that has blue and green from the journal entry paper. So I really like how this is looking, and I decided to go ahead and add a title before I start my embellishing. So I select this Life is Beautiful chipboard title from the Simple Stories chipboard sheet, and now my idea is to go over to the sticker sheet and pull off all of the butterflies and the flowers and just match them up to the rainbow order of the brush strokes. But first, before I start doing all of those teeny tiny details, I thought it would be a good idea to get the background all layered into place. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere down both of these branding strips and that column of brush strokes. I will also take the time to add my matted photo, and I will also add the title. While I'm adding the title, I will also embellish the title a little bit with a floral sticker from the sticker sheet. And then I also had a piece of tickets. I used half of it. I had cut it in half to use on another layout, but I had this little pink and orange piece left, and I thought that would look good tucked underneath with the floral. So I'll go ahead and adhere all of those onto the layout, and then I'm going to start working on all the butterflies. Now I have a bowl of baby powder off to the side, and I also have a powder tool as well, but I'm using the baby powder today because it really is just easy to dip my fingers into it and just rub it across the back of a sticker to take off the tackiness. This is so while I'm moving the stickers around, they're not pulling up any of the ink off of the pattern papers or grabbing onto the photos and ruining them as well. So in essence, it turns it into a die cut and makes them easy to move around and manipulate as I'm deciding on my design. So you can see that I pulled all of the sticker butterflies off of the sticker sheet, and then the large blue and purple butterfly from the chipboard sheet, and I'm going to place those to the right of the title. I also pull off the side view pink butterfly and white butterfly from the chipboard sheet, and I've just temporarily tacked those or set those in the upper right or upper left corner of the main photo. Now that I have all the butterflies tucked where I think I want them, I'm also going to pull off all of these rainbow Gerber daisies that are on the sticker sheet, and I love how this is coming together. There was also a neutral newsprint leaf, so I tucked that by the blue one. And now I'm deciding what I want to do next. I didn't know if I wanted to add in a phrase, but while I'm looking at the sticker sheet, I see these 4 postage stamps. There's a pink, an orange, a blue, and a purple one. So I kind of placed those in a visual triangle, grouping the blue and purple one together next to the title. I'm looking for more little pieces, and I find that little flower bud. I like adding that by the yellow frame because it has pink on the top, and then the flower stem kind of goes to a light green, which works well next to that yellow. Now I'm starting to pull in some more elements, and I'm feeling sorry for that lavender tiny butterfly at the top. Like, it doesn't have anything else to go with it. So I head on over to the chipboard sheet and I find some neutral looking hearts that I'm just going to place at the top with that. And then again, I repeat some more of those throughout the rest of the clusters, just so that there's a nice distribution of texture. I'm also going to add in these chipboard bees. I like the pop of yellow that they add. And now I'm going to add in some of the tiny newsprint hearts also from the sticker sheet. I'll add the pink one up by the pink cluster. I'll add the blue and tiny purple one down by the blue and purple frames. And then I think I switched gears for a minute. I really like how this is all looking. I love those clusters that I'm building against those photos, but honestly, it's starting to look a little busy to me. I decide to go ahead and adhere everything into place while I'm thinking about whether or not this background paper is going to work. So I'll do this off camera. I'm just tucking in some thin foam tape underneath all of the pieces and then tucking the edges flat underneath the photos. So you kind of have this dimension that builds out from all of those flat photos. At this point, I decide, yeah, this is looking a little busy. I love this floral background paper, but the floral printed on the background paper is competing with my brushstroke column, and I really wanted that brushstroke column with all of those photos to be the highlight of the page. So I make the decision to peel everything up and move everything over to the second sheet of Snowdrop cardstock from the March cardstock kit. Now, the cardstocks are awesome. On one side, they have a printed texture, and then on the other side, they have a tonal pattern, and these change from month to month. This month, it's kind of a stitched quilted tile or geometric type pattern, and on the white paper it's in a really light soft gray, and I just really love it. I think it looks so pretty. And now I'm looking through the other embellishments in the main kit to see if there's anything else I want to add. There's a little odd space under my main photo that I want to fill in, and I remembered that there's some gray elements in these die cuts, and I thought, well, gray is a nice neutral, maybe that will tie into the black of the title. So I pulled out those elements to see if I wanted to tuck them in, but it just wasn't working for me. However, while I was in that die cut set, I did find a tab that has the word happiness printed on it in pink, so I went ahead and added that to the left of the pink photo. I'm turning my attention back to the sticker sheet now, and I decided to pull off all of the ticket elements and just tuck them in here and there. So you see that I tucked in that pink and green stapled ticket pieces to the right of the pink and yellow photos. Sorry, I'm saying all these colors and I get tongue-tied a little bit. There was also this column of tickets that had all of the colors, and I decided to cut those apart, and I'm just going to start tucking them underneath and along the edges of all these different photos, just to add a bit of texture and again more color, and just to build out that column even more. And I just love the way that this is coming together. Now, I don't show this on camera, but I cut apart the pink and the yellow and the green one as well. I'll pair together the pink or the yellow and the green one to the left of the yellow Gerber daisy. That will be off camera, so just notice that in the final photos. I decided to put the white butterfly in the upper left corner of the main photo because the title is fairly neutral and I thought it paired well with that. So I'm going to put that down there. And then there's also that pink chipboard butterfly that's a side view. I'm not quite sure if I want to add that up to the pink section of my brush strokes. I do decide against it, and but I do add in some more neutral pieces like the neutral heart newsprint hearts you saw me add there. I will go ahead and add more of the sticker bees, and I am going to leave off that pink butterfly, but you can see where I've tucked in some neutral newsprint hearts just to fill in the empty spaces, and that about rounds things out. So the last thing I will do is pop up these sticker bees with some thin foam tape, and then I'm going to print my journaling onto some vellum. I type it up on my computer, and I type it so that it is right justified. I wanted it to mimic the brush strokes that are coming out from the left edge of the photos. So I do it right justified, and then I'm going to adhere it to the left of that pink branding strip. I will go ahead and trim the bottom corner of that vellum piece just so it can nestle in with those bumblebees. And once it's all adhered flat and under a sheet protector, you're not going to notice the edges of that vellum. I wanted to use vellum because I wanted the pattern of that snowdrop cardstock to peek through, and I think this turns out so pretty. So you guys, rainbow pages for the win. I had a blast making this page. Again, these are the brushstroke stamps from the March kits along with the inks from both the February and March kits, combined with the main kit embellishments and the cardstock kit. I hope you've enjoyed watching this page come together. Be sure to subscribe to the Hip Kit Club channel. My name is Jana Eubank for Hip Kit Club. We'll see you next time.